The one soul, the 12 gods, and the wholeness within. In ancient Germanic tradition, the gods were not merely external beings, they were expressions of deeper truths. While they were honored as divine, their stories often mirrored the very struggles, virtues, and transformations we face within ourselves. They symbolized powerful forces of nature, consciousness, and destiny. To me, they represent archetypes of the human experience, facets of the soul in motion. Not many gods fighting for attention, but one spirit, expressed through many faces. The 12 I've chosen here are not the only 12, but they form a structure that speaks to something sacred. The number 12 is in countless spiritual traditions, representing divine order and spiritual completeness. The 12 Olympians of Greece, the 12 tribes of Israel, the 12 disciples of Christ, the 12 Adityas of the Vedas, the 12 houses of the zodiac, the 12 archetypes of the psyche, the 12 knights of the round table. Why 12? Because 12 is a sacred structure, a full wheel, a balanced whole. To me, these 12 gods reflect the soul, not just in its light, but in its journey. They represent descent and initiation, shadow and strength. They're not gods that I've read about, they're gods I've walked with. The next part of that is the one who walks through the dark. If I had to name one god that reflects me most, it would be Odin. Not because he's king of the gods, but because he gave up his eye to see truth. Because he wandered alone to gain wisdom no one else was willing to bleed for. Because he hung from the tree not for glory, but to understand the soul. That's me. I've sacrificed stability, comfort, and ego to chase something deeper. I've walked away from everything I knew just to get closer to what's real. I've endured betrayal, isolation, and heartbreak, not to be broken by it, but to become through it. Odin isn't a figure of perfection. He's a mirror for those who carry the burden of vision. Like him, I don't just want answers, I want meaning. I want the runes beneath the surface, the sacred knowledge that isn't handed to you but revealed only through pain, patience, and fire. If I had to name others who live in me, Tyr for his willingness to sacrifice what is dear in service of what is right, Freya for the fire of passion, the beauty and grief, and the refusal to dim my heart. But Odin is the one I've walked with the longest. He is not he's not the end of the path. He is the path, and I'm still walking it. Now, the 12 Germanic gods as aspects of the soul. Odin, traits are wisdom, vision, and sacrifice. Soul aspect, the seeker, the initiator, the soul's hunger for deeper meaning. Mythic action, sacrifices I and Mimir's well, and hung on Yggdrasil to gain divine wisdom. The Christ parallel is Christ giving himself on the cross to reveal truth. He who has ears to hear, let him hear. Thor, traits are strength, protection, and action. The soul aspect, the will to defend what matters and act righteously. Mythic action, fought giants and defended the realms without hesitation. Christ parallel, Christ overturned tables in the temple, righteous force in defense of holiness. Tyr, traits are justice, honor, and courage. Soul aspect is the soul's integrity and willingness to lose for the sake of truth. Mythic action, placed his hand in Fenrir's mouth to uphold divine law. Christ stood silent before Pilate, choosing justice over self-preservation. Balder, traits of purity, light, and innocence. The divine child within, the core untouched by the world. Loved by all, yet slain through treachery, representing the loss of innocence. Christ's parallel is the Lamb without blemish, bore the world's darkness without corruption. Freyr, traits are abundance, peace, and sacred masculinity. Soul is balanced provision, the soul's radiant generosity. Mythic action laid down his sword to pursue peace and love. Christ fed the multitudes and gave abundantly through presence. Freya, beauty, traits are beauty, war, and sacred femininity. Soul is emotion, grief, and power lived fiercely and fully. She chose half the slain, wept for love, and rode into battle. Christ wept at Lazarus' tomb, embodying love, sorrow, and divine passion. Loki, Change, chaos, and transformation. The necessary disruption for truth to emerge. Broke norms and exposed lies, causing upheaval for evolution. Christ declared, I did not come to bring peace, but a sword. Disruptive truth. Heimdall, awareness, watchfulness, and divine order. Spiritual alertness and guardianship of the sacred. He stood guard over Bifrost, able to hear grass grow. Christ warned, watch and pray, for you do not know the hour. Couple more. Bragi, expression, music, and memory. The soul, the voice that gives form to spirit, the power of story. Mythic actions, spoken poetry, carried the memory of the gods through words. Christ taught in parables, the voice that moved crowds with story and truth. Njord, traits of stability, provision, and the sea's wisdom. Soul, calm in the storm, steady in provision. Offered safe passage, wealth, and peace from the sea. Christ called the storm with a word, peace, be still. Holder, traits are darkness, unseen truth, and inner reflection. The soul, the blind spots in our soul, the wounds that act without knowing. Mythic action killed Balder unknowingly, representing hidden sorrow. Christ said, forgive them, for they know not what they do. And lastly, Virar, silent strength, endurance, and final victory. Stillness with power, the quiet one who rises in time. Avenged Odin at Ragnarok by tearing Fenrir's jaws. Christ return, patient, enduring, and triumphant over death. Oh, so Christ's return embodies that, right? So Christ in the completion of the archetypes. In many ways, Christ is the synthesis of all 12. He embodies wisdom, like Odin, power, like Thor, justice, like Tyr, compassion, like Freya, and transformation, like Loki. He walks with both light and shadow, sword and stillness, grief and glory. He is not outside of the gods. He is the thread that ties them together. The one soul. To know the gods is to know yourself. To embody them is to walk in wholeness. Each of these deities lives within us, not as competing forces, but as functions of a singular soul trying to remember itself. Odin's vision without Tyr's courage is useless. Freya's love without Thor's strength is unprotected. Loki's disruption without Heimdall's watchfulness becomes chaos. But when they are integrated, we become whole. This is the one soul, the soul that remembers it is divine, the soul that walks with God through many names and many forms, the soul that doesn't divide the sacred, it recognizes it in all things. We are not meant to worship these gods blindly, we are meant to become them, and in doing so, become ourselves.